What is up, everybody? This is L Rock here with a submission for Men Mutant Apocalypse. What we're recording over today is a run that I had the previous week, which actually is not my current PB. It's about 10 seconds off. I think it was an 18:59 final cut time. The reason I'm choosing to showcase this one is because it actually features all of the top strats that I'm trying to showcase for this game. New strats, as is. Example, you've got three new quick boss kills, and two of them are featured in this particular video. One of them is incredibly hard to get. I still attempt it every time because it's not a huge time loss if you don't get it, but I want to be able to make sure that it's apparent that they exist. And the third one, well, the idea of it is there, but as is, unfortunately, I dropped it. It's actually one of the simpler ones. It was an off run. What can you do? But you still get to see the start of it, and do know that it is finishable. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. This is a run that occurred on 3/6/2017. Go ahead and we'll get it going here. Now, the reason I want to showcase this run is, in addition to the new strats that have been discovered by Stunt Coyote as well as myself, I also think that even though this game has been showcased in the past at major events, I don't think it's been given the proper commentary that it deserves. The last run that occurred of it was technically a very, very good run, and the commentary was very knowledgeable, but it was also very quiet. I don't know if there was just some kind of sound problem going on that day, or what could have happened. But I'd love to see if we can improve that. So we're gonna start with Psylocke here, and you're gonna be seeing a lot of the knee move that you see here. It's easily her most powerful move. Psychic Knife is also very, very good, but knee does the hardest single strike damage. Gonna finish that guy off there and move off. And also on her first boss, the midway boss, it actually can hit twice if he's airborne. A lot of this area is just about grouping enemies, making sure you can pile them together. We're going to hit this guy over there, catch them as they're coming off the elevator. Psychic Knife for the finish. That was actually a mistake, but... Oh, it actually did kill him. Okay, I guess I caught just enough. I'd forgotten about that. I'm going to move all the way over into the first boss. This guy's a bit of an RNG nightmare. You kind of just have to play by his rules. And here, if he comes to the ground, there's really not a whole lot you can do. That's actually just the worst possible situation. He gets to hit you with whatever he wants. You just have to get in more damage than he does, which we were able to do. We're going to slide all the way to the right. Hippity hops. Psylocke has an insanely high jump arc, so we're going to take much advantage of that. Just get over all the things we need to do. Now this strat here is actually one that Stunt utilized and taught to me. Use Group them both together, and then you throw out a Psychic Knife, and it manages to just damage them all both at the same time. Some things they do randomly can beat that. If one guy does the lunge, which goes low, it goes under Psychic Knife and completely through it because it's invincible. Not much you can do there. For the boss, we have another bit of an RNG nightmare here. He just throws out attacks at intervals, and he kind of just decides whatever he wants to do, and you just kind of have to accept it. Sometimes he'll move what I call to the back of the bus by going to the left and just kind of hiding back there and not letting you do anything else to him. That time we were lucky. We saved some time. We move on to Gambit here. This is the only time you'll see Gambit in the run, even though I think he's actually a very good character and he's very fun to play. Primarily just because of the flip kick move, which we're going to be utilizing here. Just move it forward. You do it a lot when just utilizing momentum here. That'll especially be the case when we come to the platforming section, which we're about to hear in just a moment. The first part of the level is just a standard climb. Nothing we haven't seen before from a past run. What I choose to do here, though, is I tend to utilize the flip kick to be able to get across platforms, and you also use it as offensive to get around these orbs that are in your way. Those things can and will tag you. Die to them quite a few times on runs. Move on to the elevator. Standard elevator for a beat 'em up. You see one in every single one of them. Gonna jump in on these guys, get the drop. Second level of the elevator is a bit tackier. You either get a good pattern or you either get a really, really good pattern or you get a bad pattern. There really isn't in between. You got a bad one there. I guess the only one worse is if you get hit. But you can kill them all in one cycle. It's just really really hard to do, and generally doesn't happen because they don't tend to cooperate. I think I've only gotten it like a couple times ever. So we're gonna ignite the barrel here, hit that guy, get the rest of them. Maximum time save. Move on to these two. We got a muscle guy and a knife guy. We don't prove too much of a problem, but I did that jump back as a safe strat. You're supposed to jump straight up like that and do that. But occasionally, if I am feeling like I'm going to drop the input, I'll try to jump back. Because if the game eats your jump input, you're eating an uppercut and you lose a lot of time, and it's not fun. As in less time if you jump away. It's all just how I feel in regards to my instinct. Move on to the boss here. Another bit heavy random number generation here. These guns, much in Contra style, will fire at you, and they fire in the same intervals, but which ones fire and how many of them fire is completely random. You might get all four of them to fire at you. Got a little greedy there and it got hit. Sometimes all four of them might fire. Sometimes only one will fire. Sometimes none of them fire. Just kind of have to play it as is. Board the helicopter, kill the pilot with two cards, and we're out. See the big time save there. My PB, my Gambit stage actually was not very good, so I tend to see a lot of big time saves in that stage. On to Wolverine, who also has a bit of a climb in his stage, and that's really the only thing I've set out to optimize for this particular run. Now, the one I use, I think, is the one that Stunt Coyote uses now as well. You don't have to kill that guy on the platform up there, but if you don't, he drops grenades, and it just creates a bit of a hazard. It can also hit enemies, but they're more prone to hitting you. So we're gonna move up here. Sweet spot on the climb. That was good. Pretty solid climb after that. We're gonna move on to the mini boss. Not much to really say for this guy. You usually 90% of the time you'll get a really really good pattern out of him. Probably even more than that. Missed the combo there. Got a crouch jab instead. Unfortunate. So we didn't get a full cycle, but we'll be able to finish him anyway. Didn't lose a whole lot of time. Just dropped inputs. They happen. We got a crouch jab instead of a dragon punch, and occasionally that happens. So we're gonna climb here. I believe the old strat was to walk all the way down and crouch jab the guy. But what we've been doing is we've been just diving instead, which gets us down there a lot faster. Tags him, we can move on to the wall and move on. For the boss, you have really two options here. You can do Dragon Punch, which does the same damage as the dive, or you can do Short Hop Dive. Both are about the same in terms of difficulty of execution. So whichever one you want to do is whichever one you can do the most consistently. I tend to opt for the dive. Doing Dragon Punch motions on a Super NES pad tends to wear a bit. Won't see Wolverine after that. The world record run utilizes Wolverine on the Brood stage. I still continue to use Psylocke and will continue to do so. But here we've got Beast, who is definitely the most overused character of the game, and for good reason. He's extremely powerful. Best character in the game with the highest damage output, and he has an infinite, which works pretty well on some bosses. I'm going to finish this section here, move on, excuse me. On down here to these guys. Just a random group of thugs. Took a hit there because the guy was off screen. He didn't want to cooperate. It happens. Yeah, just had some bad luck. I'm not too particularly concerned about that section for the most part, so let's move on. Mini boss here. Not really much to say about him in terms of cooperation. Your biggest issue in this boss fight is always going to be those little orbs that drop on the ground. Those things are going to be your biggest hazard no matter what you're doing here. Whether you're trying to jump punch infinite him like I was doing, head stomp, maybe get in for a headbutt combo, those things they drop randomly. They will drop at intervals on either side, but which side they drop on is completely random, and you never want them to drop on your side because that just creates issues. And we're going to move past that, get to Beast Climb section, stomp that orb, move on. Now this is actually a quick kill that I believe the world record holder pulled from a TAS and was able to incorporate it into his own strategy, which I then incorporated into my own. Get a 6-hit combo there, which requires 5 inputs. Get head stomp, jump punch, stand jab, and then headbutt. This one went a little wonky because he decided to move back instead of forward, which isn't common, but we didn't lose too much time. It went well. do some flipping around, and move on to the last of the 5 preliminary stages, which is going to be Cyclops. This is most definitely the only time we'll ever see Cyclops. He's essentially a worthless character. The only reason we play him here is because we have to. We're going to blaze through the stage by moving right a lot, and we're not really using any of our moveset outside of Optic Blast. Occasionally we'll do a jump kick like you saw there. We have to get those guys out of our way. We're going to move off the platforms there. Move on to our mini boss. We're just going to blast away. Get rid of these guys. As long as your inputs are on point, these guys are pretty simple. From here, it's just a standard side scroller. And get in your blasts here. How I remember when to do them is when you get to a specific section, you're going either left or right. And I have specific patterns that work out for all of them. For the first one that you just saw there, it's right, left, right, left, right. Like clockwork every time it works. There's no RNG to the enemies and what side they come out. The only thing that's random about them is what they can do. Like, for example, some guys with the green shirts, if they get close enough to you, they can do a jump kick and leap over the low blast. And that's really annoying. But risky run. That guy would look like he wanted to do it. He was thinking about it. So we'll move on over here to these cats. Left, right, left. It was right, left in the section before that. Let's see how this boss goes. For this, you basically just want to get 6 blasts. A little bit faster than what I'm doing there, but inputs weren't coming as quickly as I would have liked. We traded there for the last hit, but that's not a huge deal. We were already finished. Didn't lose too much time, so it tended to work out. Past the preliminary stages, we're going to have one stage here that doesn't utilize the best character. We'll have Psylocke. Reason we use her is she has the fastest movement of any character in this particular level. She gets to just dash all the way through with a slide, as you can see. We're going to try and board the truck. There's a sweet spot where you can actually jump on top of the truck, but if you miss it, you can always just do her head stomp off of one of the brood mites. See, we got the jump there. The jump on the second one's a little bit easier, I think. I've definitely nailed that one more than I had the first one. Through this cave, we're just going to keep sliding. Anything that gets in our way is just going to get hit by our foot. Beast's headbutt moves as fast and as quickly. Unfortunately, when his headbutt collides with something, he bounces back and we lose time. Bit of an unfortunate timing episode there with the brood sweeping in on us. We're going to ride these slide tails all the way through to the boss, which is going to be the Brood Queen. Not an easy boss. You really want even if your execution's perfect, you really want good patterns from the Broodmite enemies, and you generally don't get them. We had a good claw removal though. That went pretty well. The enemies that pop out from the side, as always, are just completely random. The intervals at which they do anyway. So we got there. We'll jump in. The reason we jump in is we want her to jump back like she did there, so we can finish her as far off screen as possible. It's possible to get her all the way off the screen. It's just a lot harder. And again, because of patterns, it doesn't always work out. But we'll take that. Move on to the next stage. This stage is actually going to feature one of the quick kills that has been discovered. From here on, also just know that we are still going to be using Beast. That has not changed. We'll be dashing through the snow in this section under these flea men. We're going to hang out on the ceiling, wait for them to come to us, punch them all as they show up. Got some pretty bad pattern there with them being able to just stay on the ground and throw bombs. Now here's the trick. At the start, you want to throw headbutt immediately. You want the metal piece in the middle to actually fall on you. Reason being is because that actually creates iframes where you get to get up and get right in Tusk's face and then hit him with a combo. And even if he comes back and hits you, you still have him on the side of the screen where you want him to be able to actively combo him and kill him. Punch into headbutt does a lot of damage against him, and it does even more when it knocks him into the lava. So the start of it is you always want to make sure you headbutt right to the right side, right away, and then get your damage in. Even if the anvil hits you, it's fine because you're going to wake up with iframes and you can do it again. For Apocalypse's stage, we have the standard crawl through the underground cavern. One of the more difficult parts of the game in terms of how the platforms work out and everything. And we missed the last one there, but we'll make it. Do another climb, go up here. Not really a whole lot's changed about this level, if anything. There's a bit more of a consistent combo you can get on these two. Had to knock them down just to get that guy out of our face. Climb pretty much works the same. We're going to go up the left side. Up to the right, fight Apocalypse. Same strategy that's always been. We're going to do jump in punch combos. You always delay your jump in at the start, so he throws a fireball. That's the best possible pattern, and it's manipulatable. So you get your combo there, and it's impossible to one cycle him as it's been discovered. But from there, even though he got the hit on us there, we can jump in for the finish. And there we have it. Include the Apocalypse level, and that'll bring us into the final stretch of levels. We've got two quick boss fights, one of which is still as RNG based as it ever was. The other is where another major quick kill has been discovered, and I will make sure to explain that when it comes in. For Omega Red, nothing's really changed here. Just get in his face, punch, headbutt, and you only have to do it 4 times. The real kicker comes in the fact that you want him to stay on the left side of the screen where he is now. He doesn't have to stay all the way on the left. You just want him to come down to one of these 2 sections. There's a third section over on the far right where he can appear. You don't ever want that to happen, but of course occasionally it does because game just decides that sometimes. So we got not super unlucky there, but not the perfect pattern that we wanted. So it worked out okay. Now moving on to Juggernaut. Here's where things get interesting. We're going to pick Beast again, of course. Now, what we do here is we do Jump Punch Infinite reps. I think you have to get through 4 of them. And then after the second and third ones, we crouch. What that does is that increases the odds of him going for a grab attempt on us. And if he goes for a grab attempt, that's a good thing because then we get to leap over him for the 4th attempt. There's 1 crouch. There's 2 crouch. He went for the grab, so we get in for the 4th and final jump in punch combo. Went for a 5th one just to style. Landed and finished him with punch headbutt, and that's the fight. And as you can see, for our split time there, we saved a decent whopping 4.5 seconds there by getting that quick kill. That quick kill is not 100% consistent, but there's no reason not to go for it because the other option he'll do is he'll uppercut you, and then you just don't really lose time. You don't save time, but you don't really lose it either. Unless, of course, your BB has the quick kill in it, I guess. Anyway, here's the hardest stage in the game. We have Avalon. We're going to jump up here. We had a pretty good section going through here. And we have the Exodus fight here, which this is where the last quick kill has been discovered. We're going to try and make sure he gets on the ground. He can be a bit of a troll sometimes. We get jump punch reps. Because he was off screen, unfortunately I missed the rest of the combo. The idea is you want to get 3 jump punch reps into punch headbutt, which will take him down to half health, and then he flies away. Teleports away, whatever. So you saw the combo actually worked, but when he's off screen, it's just a bit harder to land. Got a bit overzealous there, jumping in. No big deal. We'll continue through the rest of Avalon as normal. Tend to want to get these guys out of our way. They can cause a lot of problems if you're not careful. Just move over here onto the boss. The boss is a bit of a picky one. You generally want to land that jump. It's kind of hard to do so, even though it doesn't look like it should be. Get up here and do your head stomp a bunch of times. It takes 11 to kill him. We missed the last one because the bolt showed up, and we just get to waltz over and punch it, and that'll end the fight. Nothing really changed there. That's been showcased in the past. And we'll finally move on to the Master of Magnet himself, who's basically as big of a jerk as he ever was. Nothing's really changed about that. Magneto's just RNG top to bottom. Sometimes he decides to get in his shield and fly around. Sometimes he'll do this move with we dove construction zone. Sometimes he'll throw an orb, and that's the pattern you want to see. The orb is the easiest attack to avoid. You get to jump and punch, jab, and you get a headbutt after that. Construction zone's a bit trickier to fight around, and you'll see that here. As you see a mistake I made there, you don't want to jump punch after construction zone. That actually causes problems because he can reshield really, really quickly after that, which has been known. It's just sometimes bad muscle memory. Here comes the orb. From here, it's most of what's been showcased at major events in the past. The jump and punch again, so we made the mistake. This is why this particular run was not a PB. things happen. We got another orb though, so good randomness there for some good damage. Managed to avoid most of those shards, which is cool. Got some other headbutt. And from here, I mean, it's just Magneto. It runs, live and die with him, just because sometimes he decides not to let you have any fun. That concludes the run. Puts us at a solid 19 minutes, which is only a little bit over what the former world record is now. My current PB is 18:49. We didn't lose that much time in that particular fight. All in all, that was a good Magneto fight. Just some missed inputs by yours truly, some stuff that shouldn't have been done, but it was still a good run overall. And I hope this helped in showcasing those boss quick kills that I've been wanting to show off for quite some time. You got the Exodus quick kill, which you can land the infinite and then be able to finish them off from there. The Jugs quick kill, which is a bit more RNG based, and the Tux quick kill, which is very RNG based. Anyway, hope everyone had fun looking through this particular run, and you all have a great rest of the day, and thanks for watching.